Today, what I'd like to share with you a little bit about is how we help senior living providers get an advantage by driving revenue, streamlining processes, and reducing costs. The truth is, today's senior living providers need every advantage we can get. We're facing increasing competition, rising costs on every side, a shrinking workforce, and we're coming out of a global pandemic, for heaven's sake. So, who knows what surprises lie ahead? But if there's one thing we do know, it's that we have to be ready for everything. And I believe that we, myself and Advantage Anywhere, were meant to be here doing what we do, serving senior living communities at this point in history. Fast forward, little did I know we would end up serving the people who would one day serve my mom. But let me give you a little bit of back history on how we got here. In 2009, we were heavily involved in the residential home developer and builder market. We were creating sales and marketing processes for them. It was called Developers Advantage. And I was invited to meet a business executive in Naples, Florida, about something totally different. Turns out she was a high level manager at a senior living organization. And at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of firsthand experience with senior living. But as chance would have it, we happened to be meeting on property that was owned by one of our clients. And as we started chatting, she asked me what we did, and I told her a little bit about it. And she all of a sudden perked up and started to tell me about some of the challenges that they were facing at that time in senior living. She told me that processes were very manual, there were no tracks to run on, everything was very personality dependent. So your results depended on how well your people were trained and knew what to do. She said that they were dealing with a high level of turnover, which meant that every time someone left, they were starting all over again, and it was pretty much every man for themselves, is what she said. She also told me that marketing and lead gen wasn't consistent. She said even when we do get leads from third parties or some of the other marketing efforts that we do, we don't really know if they're qualified until we vet them, which of course further takes up staff time. She said, we're also struggling with follow up. Even when we get good leads, we're not following up and getting the lead to move in conversion. She said, I don't know what the numbers are, but I know they're not what we want them to be. She also told me that reports were essentially glorified spreadsheets. She said, we use sticky notes, checklists, you name it. The data is only as good as the person who's putting it in, and it's only good for that moment. And the processes were very disjointed. They were using a number of tools, but nothing actually talked to each other. So they had a lot of piecemeal solutions that, some of them were good, some of them were somewhat Stone Age. But she said often the sales and marketing was repurposed from accounting or patient care, and sales and marketing was tacked on kind of as an afterthought. She said we're really struggling to compete with that. So we spent the next hour and a half or so talking about what they really needed. And I wasn't really sold until she finally said to me, Mona, you could really help us. And of course, that's where she got me. So our company spent the next 18 months or so talking with senior living providers, with a consultant, pretty much anyone who would talk to us. And in 2010, we launched the first version of Advantage Anywhere. Our mission back then, and still is, very simple. It's to help senior living providers get more move-ins faster, easier, and with less runaround. So essentially, all we did was we gave the senior living providers what they wanted. They wanted tools that were consolidated. So all of their sales and marketing, everything they needed to be successful was in one place. So they didn't have to buy all these different things, stitch them together, move data back and forth, have the errors that come with that. And they described it as, at the end of the day, we end up with a Frankenstein. Of course, at the core of Advantage Anywhere is a very specific senior living CRM. It's very unique to the needs and the tracking of senior living. Our Advantage Anywhere clients also have access to built-in website, digital marketing integration, or third-party integration to qualify their leads and instantly start nurturing. To address the speed to lead rule. There's a 5-minute rule that states if you respond to your leads within 5 minutes of them reaching out to you, you're 100 times, not 100%, 100 times more likely to reach them, engage them, and eventually to sell to them than if you wait just 30 minutes. And when you think about it, that's crazy. When mom falls in the middle of the night and the daughter is reaching out, There's no way you can pull that off unless you have some really smart automation that will mimic what you would do in real time. And so that's what we build. Advantage Anywhere clients also have access to built-in marketing and communications tools, things like email, video, text, social posts, yes, even print. And there's also an event module that's pretty powerful that lets you create your events, track your RSVPs, launch automation for attendees, and that whole process to make your events successful. Clients also have access to built-in referral marketing. You probably already know this, but recommendations from friends and family trump every other marketing source. So we make it really easy to engage and cultivate long-term relationships with your professional referrals. They also have access to executive coaching. If I'm being honest with you, that is honestly the secret to our client success. And I believe it's the reason that our satisfaction rates are so high because you have a coach who works with you to hold you accountable, to coach you, to show you what you're not seeing, and to help you plan your next steps and then execute on them. They also have access to a number of AI-driven efficiency boosters, what we call efficiency boosters, things like app mentions, voice dictation, an email inbox, a lot of business intelligence built in, and more. We help them automate their entire lead to move in process. So through using hands-free marketing automation and something that we built called a follow-up assistant. The follow-up assistant is really very powerful in that when leads get handed from marketing to sales, that's oftentimes where they fall through the cracks because people are so busy. They often have a lot of roles. I heard recently that the marketing person had to drive the van if the person didn't show up, the driver didn't show up. So there's a lot of things going on and there's so much to keep track of and it's almost impossible. So we built this sales follow-up assistant that literally nudges them through the follow-up for their active prospects to move them from one stage to the next stage to the next stage and prompts what they should do so that no lead can ever fall through the cracks. Obviously, they can also track and measure real-time unit status, site maps, photos, and even publish them to the website if they choose to do that. And all of that drives real-time click-through insights and metrics on things that are very unique to senior living. For example, tracking heads versus doorknobs, census versus occupancy, tracking units and photos and attributes and service lines by person or service lines by unit. And then of course, all the unique reporting requirements that come in the form of dashboards and analytics and reports that are automatically scheduled and emailed to whomever you want. The point is that all these tools are integrated into one platform. So you don't have to buy all these different tools and manage them and stitch them together. So we're able to empower our senior living providers to vet qualified leads, to nurture them till they tour, to convert the highest possible number of prospects to move-ins, as we say, faster, easier, and with less runaround. So thank you so much again for allowing us to introduce our Advantage Anywhere to your audience. If you guys have any questions, you want to connect with me on anything, I'm always delighted to help, as you can tell.